All right, let's dive right into this explainer. I want you to imagine your body as this brilliant, incredibly complex factory. Every single second, it is performing millions of chemical reactions. Your heart's beating, your lungs are pulling in oxygen, your skin is repairing itself, all without you having to consciously direct any of it. But to keep this factory running, it needs raw materials. We're talking vitamins, minerals, proteins, and healthy fats. What's absolutely fascinating is that when these building blocks start to run low, the factory doesn't just suddenly shut down. Instead, it starts to whisper its nutritional needs long before it ever screams.
Think about it for a second. You wake up feeling just totally drained. Or you look down and notice your nails are constantly splitting or chipping. What do we usually blame it on? A bad night's sleep, a super stressful week at work, or maybe just, getting older? It is so easy to just write off these minor, everyday ailments. But what we're going to see in this explainer is that these small changes might not just be stress. Oftentimes, they're the very first signs of cellular starvation. Your body is actually waving a tiny red flag, letting you know it's missing something absolutely critical.
So when nutrients drop, your body goes into full-on triage mode. It makes some really tough compromises, immediately rerouting its limited resources to keep the essential organs, like your brain, your heart, and your lungs, running at all costs. And the casualty in this amazing survival mechanism? The expendable cosmetic tissues. Your hair, your nails, and your skin are the absolute first things to get their supply cut off. That is precisely why the first signs of poor nutrition almost always show up right there on the outside.
Section 1. The silent warning signs, when the surface starts to fade.
It is just fascinating how these seemingly unrelated cosmetic red flags all come back to raw materials. Take constant fatigue. Without enough iron, your red blood cells literally cannot deliver oxygen to your tissues efficiently. Then you've got brittle nails, and specifically a really strange phenomenon called spoon nails, where the nail actually curves upward like a tiny spoon. That's a classic sign of iron deficiency right there. Add in dry, flaky skin that doesn't get any better with moisturizer. Well, without vitamin A, vitamin C for collagen, and zinc, your skin just completely loses its protective barrier. Your energy and your reflection are the first things to fade when these crucial nutrients are missing. Now 50 to 100. That is the number of hairs a healthy human naturally sheds every single day as part of the normal growth cycle. It's completely fine. But what happens when the drain starts clogging and your body actually hits the panic button?
Well, you get something called telogen effluvium. See, hair follicles are among the fastest growing structures in the human body. Because they grow so incredibly fast, they are absolute nutrient hogs. So when you lack sufficient protein, iron, and zinc, the body literally halts hair growth to save those resources for your heart and brain. More hairs get pushed into a resting phase, and months later, they just shed in large clumps all across the scalp. It's your body's clever, if somewhat distressing, way of conserving energy.
Section 2. When defenses break down, warning bells from the immune system.
Let's look inside the mouth. Because it has this incredibly rapid cell turnover, the mouth is a highly sensitive early warning alarm. Bleeding gums? It isn't always because you brush too hard. Without vitamin C, your collagen gets weak, which makes blood vessels super fragile. Then there's angular cheilitis, those awful, painful cracks at the corners of your mouth that no amount of lip balm is ever going to fix. This is heavily tied to a lack of iron, B vitamins, and folate. Your mouth is desperately trying to tell you that your systemic defenses are faltering. Or take a look at glossitis. Your tongue is normally covered in thousands of tiny little projections called papillae. But when your body is starved of vitamin B12, iron, or folate, those projections smooth right out. The tongue becomes swollen, bright red, and ridiculously tender. It just goes to show how deeply intertwined your everyday oral health is with your body's hidden internal vitamin reserves. And of course, it doesn't stop at the mouth. Your immune factory needs constant resupply. If you are catching literally every single cold that goes around, if you're bruising heavily from the tiniest little bump, or noticing that a minor kitchen scratch takes weeks to heal, your body is missing the building blocks. Without vitamin C, vitamin K, and zinc, your immune system simply cannot knit new skin together or clot blood efficiently. The structural integrity is just compromised.
So up to this point, your body has been sacrificing the less critical stuff, the expendables. But what happens when the resources run so dangerously low that this strict triage system can't even protect the absolute most vital organs anymore?
That brings us to Section 3, nervous system and brain when the wiring fails.
This is where we see cognitive and sensory disruptions, and this is where things get a bit scary. We're talking about that brain fog where you walk into a room and totally forget why you're there. Poor concentration, sudden unexpected mood changes, and a very specific physical symptom, tingling in your hands and feet.
This is exactly what happens when a lack of iron, folate, and omega-3 fatty acids disrupts the crucial neurotransmitters and electrical signals your nervous system completely relies on to function. I want you to let this number sink in for a second. 20%. Your brain makes up only about 2% of your body weight, yet it completely hogs 20% of your body's energy. It is an incredibly demanding organ. This perfectly illustrates why poor nutrition instantly causes brain fog. When you drop the ball on glucose, vitamins, and minerals, your brain simply doesn't have the fuel to maintain focus. And then there's the actual physical sensation of those nerves failing. See, myelin is this protective coating around your nerve fibers. Think of it like the rubber insulation on an electrical wire, and it's highly dependent on vitamin B12. When your B12 levels plummet over time, that insulation literally starts to degrade. The nerves misfire. And that is exactly why you start feeling that bizarre pins and needles or tingling sensation in your fingertips and toes. Even worse, your sensory organs can literally start to shut down in the dark. Nyctalopia, which is night blindness, happens when you lack vitamin A. See, vitamin A is absolutely critical for producing a pigment called rhodopsin inside your retina. Without it, your eyes just cannot adapt to dim lighting. Driving at night or walking down a dark hallway becomes incredibly difficult. It is this stark reminder that our most complex sensory functions are tethered to very specific, simple nutrients.
Section 4. Deep systemic changes. Structural breakdown.
At this severe stage, the deep structural foundation of your body is actually giving way. We start seeing painful muscle cramps, the ones that shoot through your calf in the middle of the night, because the delicate balance of electrolytes like magnesium and calcium is thrown off, causing muscles to contract violently. We see pale skin from a lack of iron-rich hemoglobin. We literally see bone softening, a condition called osteomalacia due to low vitamin D and calcium. And bizarrely, we see constant hunger, even right after a meal.
Let's look a bit closer at that constant hunger. I like to call this the hunger illusion. If you're eating highly processed foods, you are getting a ton of calories, sure, but virtually no protein, no fiber, vitamins, or minerals. Your blood sugar spikes and then crashes rapidly. Your brain panics and sends constant hunger signals. The ultimate irony here, your body isn't begging for more calories. It is desperately begging for the actual nutrients, the fiber and the healthy fats it was denied in the first place.
Section 5. Listening to your body. Taking action.
All right, so here is the action plan for restocking the factory's depleted inventory. We really need to focus on dietary patterns here, rather than just hunting for one magic superfood. We're talking colorful fruits and vegetables for those essential vitamins, whole grains for lasting energy, lean proteins like fish, poultry, beans, and lentils to actually build tissue, healthy fats like olive oil and nuts to support your brain and hormone production, and of course, adequate water. This is how you give every single cell the materials it needs to repair and protect you.
But here is the absolute most important disclaimer you're going to hear today. Don't guess, test. Because so many of these symptoms overlap. Fatigue could be an iron issue, or it could be a B vitamin issue, or honestly, something completely unrelated to nutrition. You should never just guess and start popping random supplements. Speak with a healthcare professional. Get a blood test. That is the smartest, most effective way to accurately decode your body's specific signals.
We've seen how the body uses your hair, your nails, your gums, your muscles, and even your mood to communicate with you. The foods you choose today literally become the structural building blocks of tomorrow's health. Your body is a brilliant factory, and it is constantly talking to you. So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought as we wrap up this explainer. The next time your body sends a signal, are you going to listen?